What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to talk about the 3 best beginner-friendly shells in Marathon. If you're just starting the game or you're fairly new to it, I know that there's just so much information to learn. And so in this video, I'm going to talk about 2 different shells, and then we're going to talk about Rook as the 3rd shell. These 3, I think, are going to be your best bet in terms of starting out and just understanding the game in general. The first shell we're going to talk about is Destroyer. Let's give you a basic ability breakdown first. Destroyer is a very straightforward shell. There's nothing super tricky about it. He's got a couple of basic abilities, which include Search and Destroy, Riot Barricade, Thrusters, and Tactical Sprint. So Tactical Sprint and Thrusters are your traits. Riot Barricade is your, sort of normal ability, and Search and Destroy is what we would call maybe your ultimate ability. So let's start off with your traits first. Let's talk about your Thrusters. Thrusters is a boost in movement when you double tap the jump button. It gives you a burst in the direction that you're facing. So if you're in the air, you can burst forward, but it doesn't boost you up. So you can't use it to like double jump or anything like that. It is a nice little thing to help you with fall damage as well. If you're falling from a great height, you can burst right before the ground and it stops you from receiving fall damage. Tactical Sprint is when you double tap the sprint button and the boosters on your legs start going and you can run really fast for a short amount of time. This helps with getting out of trouble. It also helps with just traversing the map, like just getting somewhere quickly. If you want to get to the next POI and you want to loot a little faster, this definitely helps with that. But keep in mind, both of the traits, both the Thrusters and the Tactical Sprint, build up heat pretty fast. So if you're just starting and you don't have like a really high heat capacity build going, then this is going to eat up your heat really fast. Just try not to overheat your shell. That's basically running out of stamina. Now, moving on to Riot Barricade, this is just a personal shield. It doesn't really help too much in terms of your teammates unless you guys are like pushing down a narrow hallway or something like that. But basically, that's it. It's a really simple thing. Destroyer is a very simple shell. Search and Destroy is a bunch of rockets that get fired on the target that you are currently doing damage on. These are not rockets that you actually get to fire. You have to currently be doing damage to a particular target. Once you do enough damage, and I don't know what the exact damage number is, but once you do enough damage, those rockets will fire automatically. Now, Search and Destroy does last quite a long time. It shoots about 4 sets of rockets or so before it expires. It does a lot of damage. It helps a lot with UESC, especially fighting bosses and things like that. You can put a lot of damage on a boss with this Search and Destroy. I haven't found it too helpful in terms of PvP because the PvP engagements in this game are so quick and there's a lot of short range combat as well. And so this ultimate ability isn't super helpful in PvP. In general, the use for this is going to be against UESC and bosses. That being said, let me give you a couple of tips on how to use these abilities. So let's talk about the shield first. I use the shield a lot to close distance. If we're out in the open, say in Perimeter or Dire Marsh, there's a lot of open space in those maps and you have to sort of bring the fight to another team. You can pop your shield open and push. And a lot of times when you're pushing with the shield, the other team is going to want to take that shield down, actually acting as a distraction as well as sort of closing the distance with the other team. Just make sure you can make it to the next piece of cover that you can use before that team breaks your shield and starts doing damage to you. Otherwise, you might end up going down instead of being a distraction. But while they're shooting you, that's time that your team can be shooting them. So it has to be a coordinated push. You can't just run out with your shield. You have to work as a team, make sure you're communicating. You can also use your shield to give yourself cover to try to get to more permanent cover. Let's say you're in Dire Marsh and you're stuck in the trees and you're kind of having this fight, but you want to get to a building, let's say, and maybe recover, maybe pop some health or some shields. You can pop open your shield and sort of back up, get out of the fight, and get yourself to more permanent cover. Now, it's obviously not a pro tip. It's a shield, and I'm telling you to use it as a shield, but basically, it just helps you get from one place to another. You can also use your shield to help your team enter a building. So let's say there's a team holed up in a building or below a ladder and you want to go down in there. Your team doesn't want to just drop down and become super vulnerable because the team in there maybe is camping that ladder or camping the doorway. Your shield will help you guys get through there without taking damage. So you pop your shield, you guys count to 3 and you push in all together with the shield in front. That way the shield takes all the initial damage, the other team wastes a little bit of ammo, and then you guys can start to do damage as soon as you get in. It just helps you sort of like get into the building. Now, just some notes about the shield. No one can shoot through the shield, including the teammates. So from both sides, you can't shoot through it, which I think is good. If you could, it would be super OP for pushing into the buildings. So keep that in mind when you're doing it. As far as Search and Destroy goes, like I said, this is really good for killing groups of ads or bosses. It has a ton of splash damage from the rockets as well. So I would use that for any type of boss situations. You can also pop it at the beginning of any of your PvP fights. in hopes of doing a little extra damage. When those rockets do fire off, they go straight towards the person that you're damaging. They don't go to, you know, where you're looking or anything. You have to be damaging a target to make those rockets go off, so keep that in mind. Now, as far as your thrusters are concerned, I use thrusters all the time as a way to evade people. So I'll be in the middle of a fight and I'll need to get out of there. I turn, double tap jump, and I'm out of there. So I use it for that. I also use it to get behind cover. If I start getting shot, I try to thrust away from somebody. You actually do have like 2 thrusts before you overheat, so keep that in mind. If you do 2 sets of thrusts like in a row, you're definitely going to overheat the shell. Anyway, that's it for Destroyer. Let's move on to the second shell, which is Triage. So let's go down the basic ability breakdown for Triage. Triage is the healing character. It's the support character, and he's actually really, really good. Like, if you have a team of friends and you're not running a Triage, I think you guys are making a big mistake. I think every team needs to have a Triage. It just gives you a lot more health in fights, and it helps you use less resources as well. So as a team, really. So let's talk about the different abilities. I'm going to start off with the traits. So the first trait we have is shareware. This is the benefits from your medical consumables are being shared between the crewmates that have your med drone attached to them. So you want to throw out your med drone to both your teammates and yourself, and then when you heal yourself, it actually heals your teammates as well. It's like a super OP trait. I love it a lot. Your second trait is battery overcharge. Battery overcharge actually diverts energy from your cooling systems to boost your performance. Essentially, in regular layman's talk, you're basically trading your stamina for better gun performance. So if your plan is to not really be in the middle of a fight, which I'll talk about that in a minute, then you want to pop your battery overcharge every time you guys get into a fight, because you really will notice the performance difference of the upgrades. They become a little bit more powerful. Not only is he a healing character, but you also have the ability to do a little bit more damage. All right, let's talk about his main ability, which is the med drone. This is your tactical ability. The med drone is a floating medical drone that attaches to the crew members and restores health. You can throw this thing across the map. It bounces off stuff. It sits there and it waits for somebody to run into its circle. It'll automatically attach to anybody that's there. So when you're throwing it around to your teammates, you have to kind of aim it towards somebody, or, you know, throw it to the side so that it attaches to the person closest, and you kind of have to just get used to the way it works. Now, as far as the ultimate or prime ability, that one is called Reboot. This one is sort of 2 different things. Basically, this allows you to revive 2 of your teammates that have fallen, and it doesn't have to be 2, it can just be 1, but you just pop the ability and then charge it up and then fire it at your team, and it actually will revive them. It's sort of a defibrillator, basically. Now, if you happen to fire this at an enemy, let's say an enemy is close by and you want to get them as well, you can actually hit them with this, and it will EMP the hostile, and it will revive your teammates. It's a very, very nice ability. All right, let me give you some tips on Triage, because some of the stuff is not like super apparent when you start using it. So first of all, med drones stay on your teammates until they've used their allotment of health and shields. So they repair both health and shields, and they will sit and hover around your teammate forever as long as they don't take damage. The second they take damage, the drone goes to work and starts to heal them. Once the drone has run out of health, then it falls to the ground and is no longer attached to them, and you have to, you know, give them another one. That's the basics of how it works. So what you want to do is, as soon as you have a drone available, just throw it onto a teammate. Whether they need health or not, it's important to just toss them on there, make sure they have drones at all time. Your job as the healer is to make sure your teammates have drones at all times. Now, your med drone ability has a cooldown that starts immediately after you throw it. So essentially, you throw 2 of them out and make sure your teammates have them. Once the cooldown resets, you throw 1 out for yourself. And now all 3 of you have drones, and your cooldown is starting again. So you'll actually have like 2 more that are available right away. They'll be fully cooked and ready to go, as long as you guys don't take a tremendous amount of damage right after getting them. But you have to get into the habit of looking to the bottom left of the screen and seeing who has a drone and who doesn't. There will be this little tiny symbol that'll show you exactly who has the drone and doesn't. You want to make sure everyone has drones at all time. It's huge. Now, if one of your teammates or yourself takes a little bit of damage, let's say you use half of that drone's ability, you can actually throw out another drone and walk up to it and refill the drone that you have attached to you, and your teammates can do the exact same thing. You should be doing this at all times. Again, the goal is to keep everyone with a full drone. That way, in the middle of fights, you can heal quickly. And like I told you, with that shareware trait, you can actually heal and boost your teammates in the middle of gunfights. Now, Reboot, which is your ultimate ability, like I said, is best to use during fights to quickly get teammates up. It's important for you to be the last one standing to make sure that you can help your teammates get up and get back into the fight as soon as possible. All of his healing abilities are ranged healing abilities. You don't have to be right next to your teammate in order to help them. You can throw the drone across the map. I mean, not literally across the map, but you can throw it pretty far. If they need help, you can toss one over to them. You can actually give everyone drones and then heal yourself, and that heals them. Like, you could be kind of behind the scenes a little bit. So I would say you want to stick with guns like the long shot, the volley rifle, and the strider. Those are great options to run as triage, especially when you're on maps like Perimeter and Dire Marsh. So with that in mind, let's move on to the last one, which is Rook. Now, Rook is obviously a solo experience. It's not a shell that you can take out, but I wanted to talk about this because I think it's important for beginners. This is a shell that allows you to get in and get out, and that's exactly how you should be using it. Let's talk about the abilities first. You basically have a tactical ability and a prime ability. Rook doesn't have any traits at this point. So the tactical ability is called Signal Mask. This one you're going to use a lot. You activate Signal Mask. You are basically a UESC. They will not target you at all. Like, they just walk right by you. They don't shoot you. You don't do anything. Your prime ability is called Recuperation, and this actually will start to restore your health. It does it kind of slowly, and you can't be taking damage. Otherwise, it'll stop. But if you're just kind of, you know, sitting and trying to recover, maybe you took a little damage from some UESC or even some players and you just want to restore your health, but you don't have a lot of health packs, then this is the way that you can do it. So I always try to pop that like right after a fight just to kind of get back into it. All right, here's some tips for using Rook. The first thing is he's really good at looting and getting out. Like, when you spawn in a Rook, you just pick up everything you see and get out. Right when I spawn in as a Rook, I open the map and I figure out where the nearest exfil is, and I go to that exfil and I loot around that exfil, and then I leave at that exfil. I'm not in the match more than about 4 to 5 minutes every time I do a Rook run, and if I come across some bodies or some, you know, some death bags, then even better. That's sort of icing on the cake. But you can get some good loot and get out with Rook really quickly. Mostly to me, Rook is about refilling some of your vaults and your money and getting some XP. And speaking of XP, when you do a Rook run, you actually gain over 100 XP for Syac. And to be honest with you, you can just like spawn in, run straight to the exfil and leave. You'll get 100 XP for Syac. So you can level up Syac really, really fast if you do this, because you could probably do a Rook run like that in about 2 to 3 minutes, just, you know, going straight to the exfil and taking off. Obviously, you want to get a few things before you do that, which is why I say about 5 minutes for a Rook run, and that's all you need. Now, there are lots of other riskier ways to play Rook. You can try to get involved in like a gunfight that happens, try to wait until it's over. You can third party. A lot of gunfights end where like one team is completely wiped out and the other team just barely survives with one person and the other two are wiped out. That one person actually has to revive those other two teammates, and he's already likely not going to be at full health. Now you're looking at a 1v1 with 5 boxes on the ground. If you kill that one guy, now you have 6 boxes of loot between the players that were fighting that you can actually go loot. That's sort of like a risk reward situation. You're not really risking anything as Rook except for the time that you're investing in that match. So this is a good strategy as well. You kind of hang out, let the team fight happen, and then third party at the very, very last minute when it stops. The only thing is it's easier said than done, because you can sort of be detected pretty easily in fights. People are running around, switching positions, going crazy, and they're just shooting everything that's moving. And so it definitely happens where you're trying to third party a fight and you just get caught right away in the middle of it and you get killed quickly, and you know, your run is over. You just have to start over again. Now, the Signal Mask tactical ability works really well, but it doesn't work for very long. The timer on it is at the bottom middle of your screen on the actual like Signal Mask icon. You can see it counting down there, and once that thing is completely empty, then you will be back to normal. The UESC will recognize you and target you. But there are other things that also break this. So if you decide to take a heal, if you fire your gun, if you run, if you sprint, they will detect you and they will shoot you. They will target you. So you can't do those things around them. The Signal Mask ability is meant for you to get out of the situation. You pop it, you get out of there, and you don't get any more damage. Like if they start targeting you, and you know you can't take on a full set of UESC, you hit that Signal Mask and you walk away. You get out of the way, you get healed up, and then you try it again, or you go back in and you look for the loot. But you don't use it as a way to run through an area, because as soon as you start sprinting, they will recognize you and target you. You can, however, use it when you're exfilling. So if you pop an exfil and then you turn on your Signal Mask, they won't target you while you're standing in the exfil. It will be nice and easy. The only thing is your Signal Mask will expire before the exfil actually comes. So you want to make sure you time it right. Pop the exfil, go hide somewhere, then pop your signal mask and walk into the exfil when it's ready. It just doesn't last long enough to sit there the entire time. All right, so I'm going to end this video with the upgrades, the enhancements that you can make to Rook. There are a lot of them throughout the entire like faction progression system. Well, starting with Syak at capstone number 4, these are the things at the bottom of the screen. These are your capstones, and you actually gain experience towards those capstones by unlocking the unlocks at the top of the screen. So the more unlocks you get, the more your capstone XP will go up. So as you unlock your capstones, you unlock new things with Rook. So for Syak at capstone number 4, Rook is going to start with some credits. So you're basically just given free credits for going in with Rook. That's really nice. Capstone number 6 for Syak actually gives Rook a deluxe backpack. That is phenomenal. A deluxe gives you plus 16 slots. And you have so much more room for loot. It is very, very nice. Now, capstone number 1 for every other faction gives you something for Rook. So you're going to want to upgrade at least to capstone number 1 for all of the other factions as soon as you can, especially if Rook is sort of your primary way of getting loot. So for new caloric, capstone number 1 gives you a patch kit and a shield charge. Instead of just like depleted stuff, now you'll start with a real patch kit and a real shield charge. For Traxxas, capstone number 1 gives you an enhanced weapon. So the weapon you're going to have will have attachments on it. For capstone number 1 on Mida, you're going to get a stack of claymores. That's great, especially if you're looting a place. You want to claymore the doors, make sure no one comes in, or at least gives you, a tip that someone is there and you can get out. That's an awesome one. Arachne capstone number 1 gives you implants for your Rook. So this will just give you random implants and you can keep those afterwards. Also on Arachne for capstone number 4, you get a combat shotgun with MIPS rounds. That is phenomenal. Dude, that's like a free combat shotgun just for going in as a Rook and exfilling. For Sekiguchi capstone number 1, you start with cores now. So now, not only if you have Arachne and Sekiguchi leveled up, now you have implants and cores that are basically free. Capstone number 5, Rook gets a signal mask after activating an exfil for Sekiguchi capstone 5. That is great. So that you basically get your signal mask for free. You can activate the exfil, the signal mask goes off. Then once that expires, you can pop your own signal mask and boom, you're good to go the whole time that you're exfilling. That is great. Now, just a quick catch for the stuff that you're bringing in as Rook. The backpack and the shield are going to be not valid when you exfil unless you find a matter fixative. Matter fixative is a little card that fixes the matter that's in your backpack, or in this case, it happens to be like your backpack, which usually this type of card drops from your purple shield commanders. But basically you need this, so you have to fight at least one purple shield in order to get one of these. And then all of that gear that you're bringing in, it'll be fixed, you can use it, it'll go into your vault, it'll be basically free loot for you. All right, I know I did a bunch of talking in this video. I really hope it helps you beginners that are just starting the game, or maybe some people that just needed some clarity or some direction on what to pick. If you like this type of content, please do subscribe to the channel. It means a lot to me. I'm just getting this thing going. Thank you so much for watching. We'll catch you on the next one.